So bless me and welcome on former Nebraska star, now the newest member of Grand Canyon, Yvan Ouedraogo. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. What about you, man?
Pretty good. Well, kind of take us through how you're feeling, because like I said, you spent your first 2 years at Nebraska, but you decided to take that transition. You decided to trust Coach Drew and head out to Arizona. So how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty good. First of all, Coach Drew is a coach who's been recruiting me since before I came to Nebraska, really. He started recruiting me when he was at Vanderbilt. And I always had like kind of a good relationship with him. I like the way he talked to me at that time and his project and the way he be handling his players. So I always liked it. And now we got a pretty good team coming in at GCU. We got a lot of good players from high major and mid major we just committed. And also the team just went to the tournament. So I feel like we're going to be pretty solid next year.
This is a special thing unfolding here because for you guys being at a mid-major, kind of a middle of the pack mid-major school, also like you said, you adding yourself that just started at a high major level for a lot of games. You added an aide that's a huge piece. Holland Wood just started at ASU. Walter, and not even to mention, obviously, you get the returners like Javon Blackshirt is going to be one of the best players in the conference. Chance McMillan's going to return. Like a lot of big pieces. Gabe McLaughlin, like you see all these guys coming together. How excited will go get around those guys and start playing with them?
I'm really excited. I feel like we're going to do some good things together, some great things. And also the whole team has been really welcoming. Like when I committed, I think Tayshawn reached out to me, Aiden, and also a lot of guys who are already in the team. So I feel like it's a brotherhood. The coaches and everybody are really welcoming. And I feel like once we're building that chemistry together, we're going to be real good.
So you just mentioned something that's kind of key there. So a lot of the guys were kind of recruiting you too. So you kind of have had contact now with a lot of those players.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, we're gonna get back into Grand Canyon to wrap this up, but I want the fans to get to know you a little bit better. So let's kind of head back. Obviously, you're from France, where you really create your name out there, playing with the U teams and all that. But just what was it like growing up out there in France?
Oh, so I was born in France, in Bordeaux, France, Southwest.
Mhm.
I grew up in France from 0 to 6. Then I moved to Burkina Faso in Africa from 6 to 12, and then I moved back to France at 12 years old. There I trained at an academy named Kemet Basketball. Uh, there is like my mentor, my first real coach. I played basketball when I was in Burkina Faso, but then at 12 years old, I decided to move by myself without my parents back to France to play basketball. So I enrolled at this academy named Kemet Basketball, coached by a coach named Vincent Bassi, who's like my mentor, like a second dad, really. And he's the first coach of the NBA player Boris Diaw, who was playing for Phoenix Suns and the Spurs. So then I trained them from 12 to 15, I think. Then I started playing national teams, U16. At that time, I was 1 year ahead because I was born in 2002 and the other guys were in 2001. And then after that, I got selected at INSEP. It's really known all over the world. It's like the French academy for the top players. And I started playing there. And then after my European Championship, my U16 European Championship, I started to have all my offers. And I started to be ranked. I started to get ranked at that time. And then since I skipped a grade when I was really young, I was able to go play college basketball at 17 years old. So that's really that about my youth.
Now, this is a unique situation because not a lot of guys at your age play at this many, go to this many different countries. Like moving around that much couldn't have been easy. So how did you adjust to that? Like you said, starting off in Europe, coming out to Africa, then going back to Europe at such a young age. How have you balanced all that moving?
Um, Really, I say just motivation. Like since a youngin, I always knew what I wanted. Obviously, helping my family to get more money to get my siblings and the rest of my family back in Africa or France to get a better life. So I knew I had to work hard, work harder than the other people. And even though I was 12 years old when I left, I feel like everything was already clear for me. Like I knew that I had to work hard and stay focused, and so it wasn't really that hard. Like now I'm 19. I'm looking back at my little sister who's 10, and I'm like, yeah, that's crazy to leave at 12. But I didn't really feel that way, and yeah, and when I left to go to the US, it wasn't that hard because I was already used to be away from my family. So yeah.
So you look at all the countries you've been in now. Which one's your favorite one? You've been obviously to America, Africa, Europe. Which one's your favorite one?
Um, I love France, but I also love Burkina Faso. I feel like it's 50-50. And
Mhm.
then America is the last because I feel like it's not my roots, but I like America too.
So when you move from at 12 years old, some people in America get used to that because some guys might go to prep school or something out here when they're in high school. But 12 is really young. So when you moved out there all by yourself, left your family to pursue basketball, how'd you already know that basketball is what you want to pursue?
So basically, I was going for a summer camp at the camp basketball camp, the camp that the mentor is Bryce. So I went to this camp, and I didn't know that I was gonna stay. To be honest, it was just a summer camp that I went to in my city, like the city I was born to. I was born in Bordeaux. My grandma was living there, so she was like, "Oh, I know you like basketball, and there was a summer camp. Do you want to do it?" So I was like, "Yeah, I want to do it," and I did it. And then I met the coach and everybody. And the coach, as I say, Vincent Bassi, told me right away that he could turn me into a star if I was staying with him to work at the academy. And then I don't know, I really trusted him. I did maybe 2 weeks. I really loved it. And I just felt like that was my place. That was where I needed to be. So then I called my dad and I called my mom and say, I want to stay. Obviously, at the beginning, it was like, nah, no way, you're too young. But then my dad came, he saw everything, and then he trusted me. And my mom trusted me because my grandma is in that city. And then they let me go.
I have to ask you another piece about you because one thing that's fascinating that a lot of people always mention is that you are a lot more developed than a lot of guys are at your age. You came in already in the 200 pounds. You've got a lot of muscle in yourself. You're 6'9" now. Have you always been a really more developed guy, or did that kind of all of a sudden hit at one point in your life, or like when did your body really start having so much more size than a lot of other guys have?
Um, I feel like I always was bigger since a youngin. Like I used to maybe not bigger, but I always was taller.
Yeah.
And then I kind of started like when I was 12, I was heavier than right now. So I was kind of fat when I was younger, and then I turned into muscle with time and hard work. But then I feel like I always been big and tall, but I don't think that my body is fully developed yet. I still got to work a lot.
The other thing about you too is that you are a lot younger than a lot of guys. Yes, you just finished your sophomore year of college, but you came in at 17 years old. So how have you been able to play at such a high level throughout your overseas career and also now in college while being so much more younger than the average guy?
Oh, first of all, I skipped a grade when I was six, I think. So I skipped a grade. So for the summer part, my fault, for the school part, that's the reason why. And then the reason why I was already able to play basketball at this around grown people, even grown men, even though I was younger, is like because when I was at the academy in France in Bordeaux, I was always training against pros, and I was never scared. My coach Vincent always told me that go hard, like don't worry about their age or their size, just go hard. So then I got used to it. And then at INSEP, my second year, I played in the grown man league, the third division pro league in France, and I feel like it kind of helped me to play against bigger and older guys.
That's something that I'm a big fan on the European route because you guys obviously play a lot different than America. America has a high school route, AAU in the summer. You guys have the whole club route where you guys are obviously playing with age groups, also FIBA stuff, but you're playing around guys that are professional players. You're the same organization as them. So kind of just walk us through that lifestyle. Like what's the difference between America, Europe, and how much did you like and kind of enjoy being a part of that club system?
Okay, so in Europe, you don't play for your school, you play for a club, like for a team. So you play for your team, you got the season, and then during the summer you got nothing really. Like if you're really good, starting at 15 years old, you got national team, so the FIBA stuff.
Mhm.
But if you don't have that level, you don't really have anything. So it's really about the season, the club season, the team season, and then yeah. And I feel like I enjoyed it, even though when I was in France at the beginning, in my academy, I wasn't playing games for 2 years. It was just training, like just individual training. And then I started playing games at 14 years old. But I feel like since then, I really enjoyed it. I had some pretty good moments. I was French. I won the gold medal in France, and We lost the national team U16 and U18, but I feel like this summer we're gonna be better at the World Championships. We got the team for it.
You mentioned Bush Diaz, one of the more famous guys that come from your club that you're part of, but also Tony Parker was a part of them, Clint Capella. So kind of having that backing, like seeing guys that have made it to the level you ultimately want, which is the NBA, how kind of beneficial was that kind of seeing and learning from the minds that kind of help develop those players and just being a part of that organization?
It's just motivating. Like you just feel like it's not just a dream. You can reach it if you work hard. Like some guys did it before us, so why not us? Like I feel like it helped me, and it still push me till this day to reach my goal.
And France basketball is, in my opinion, probably the biggest and the best up and coming country out there in Europe in terms of competition. You guys have a lot of top guys that are coming out of high school, going to college, and in the NBA now. So, how bright is this new era of France basketball?
Oh, I feel like it's really bright. I feel like as you say, we're really coming up. There is a lot of young, good French players, and I feel like it's only gonna go up. Really.
So, if you could put together a list, like the guys that are 23 or 22 and under, let's say, who are like the best 5 to 10 guys coming out of France for the future now?
Oh, Killian Hayes,
Mhm.
Theo Maladon, Jalen Howard, Sekou Doumbouya, Malcolm Casalon, my guy Joan Begarin. Who else? Justin Bala,
Mhm.
7. Olivier Sarr, 8. I don't want to forget some people. Joel Ayayi, who's playing for Gonzaga. Now I'm gonna put myself I'm gonna put myself in the list of 10. But there is still a level. I mean, there is some. I forgot Victor Wembanyama. I don't know if you know him. Mathieu Gozin. There is so many players. But yeah, I feel like I say it a lot. Matthew Strazel, who's playing for Lyon. There is so much players. Usman Dieng, Adama Ball. Like there is really a lot of players. Ian Traore. I can't name 10, but I can name 20. Just to tell you, there is that much good players coming up.
For when you look at just in Europe in general, where would you rank up France? Like you're looking at Spain, I know they're a little bit older. I'm not sure exactly how bright their future is, but like when you look at all the countries in Europe, where would you rank France?
I feel like France should be number one because we got all the tools. We got, if you compare us to a lot of European countries, we got more like we're more athletic than a lot of countries. Like we know to be athletic in Europe. We got a lot of good players. I feel like we should be at the top. I don't think that we're at the top yet, but it's coming up.
Like you mentioned, there's kind of been this whole stigma in terms of European players that everyone's unathletic out there and it's a lot of skill. And the skill part's true. Obviously, guys are really a lot more skilled, kind of fundamental from Europe. But like you said, guys in France are coming out a lot more athletic than they had before. So how have you kind of learned to combine both the athleticism aspect, but also with the skill and the fundamental aspect into your game?
I feel like it's just growing up. Growing up, you become more athletic. Like, is this for a lot of guys? Obviously, there are some guys who were just born athletic since really young. But I feel like growing up, you become a lot more athletic, and then you learn how to use it with your skills. That's how I feel.
And the ultimate goal for any country is eventually to come out, win the Olympics down the road. And that's something that obviously your guys' goal is. So when you're looking at this young group, obviously America's going to stay in the top group. Australia's got a bright future, Canada, a few other countries. But where do you think France can end up? Like, where would you rank France in terms of the whole world?
I think we definitely in the top 4, top 3. Yeah, I feel like yeah. Obviously, the USA are still on top. It's the country of basketball. Maybe Canada is ahead. I'm not even sure. I feel like yeah, we definitely in the top 4, top 3 in the world. We will.
Absolutely. Well, kind of go through your development personally, because like you said, you go out there at the age of 12, you start training for a couple of years, and then we start seeing how you produce on the court, which is at an extremely high level too. But those like 4 or 5 years before you came to America, what were the biggest things you grew in? Just kind of take us through your time out there, just developing, and also before you came out to America.
So I think before I came out to America, the biggest thing is, like, as I said, at 12 years old, I didn't know how to play basketball. So I had to learn everything, learn how to use my body and all of that. I really worked on my handle a lot. I feel like I got a pretty good handle for big. And then in America, last summer, after my first season at Nebraska, it was pretty good. I saw a lot. I seen a lot of good players in the league, like Xavier Tillman, Luka Garza, uh, Myers Johnson, and the list go on and on. Like in the Big Ten, it's like a good big every night.
Mm-hmm.
So I seen that I had to improve something. So I really worked on my body, and I lost 30 pounds last summer. So I feel like in the US, I really improved on my body and on my athleticism. Now this summer, I'm working more on my shot and on my finishing and everything. But that's really what I'm focusing on right now.
I want to go into kind of your FIBA competitions too a little bit, because that's ultimately an opportunity where you get to go represent your country on a national stage. And you did that a couple of different times. So your first one was U16, I believe. What was that experience like?
Like it was a good experience. Like if I'm as a team standpoint, I feel like everybody kind of was mad at the end because we had the team to win it all. But then Daniel Bacho was going to Arizona. You know him? Got hurt in quarterfinals, and we really had a good team. Like our front court we had really three monsters. It was me, Musa Jabate was a 5-star going to Michigan, and then Daniel Bacho, and we was all averaging like a double-double. And so we was really good. And then Daniel got hurt. We still won the quarterfinals, but I feel like in semifinals something was missing, and then we lost. So we lost in semifinals. So I feel like everybody was mad because we felt like we could win it all. But it still was a pretty good experience. On my offer, I had a pretty good tournament. I had some good numbers at that tournament. I was just mad because we didn't win. I was really mad because we didn't win. So yeah.
So when would you personally say it started clicking? You started realizing I can be a guy that can go play college basketball in America, or even I could be a guy that plays professional if that was something you want to choose. But like, when did you start realizing that this basketball could truly be a career path for you down the road?
When I got selected to go to INSEP, no, when I got selected to go to national team U16 with Killian Hayes, Theo, and everybody, the first camp, I was the only one of my age really seen, oh, I'm really good. If I'm working, I can maybe make it. It's not only a dream, like I can really make it. But I feel like I was, and I've seen that obviously they were better than me, but I wasn't that bad, you know? I feel like I was still able to play with them. So I feel like since this day, I knew that I could really do something.
Going a little bit deeper into being around Killian, obviously he became a lottery pick. He's the future for the Detroit Pistons at point guard. What was his mentality though? Because I know everyone knows that pro players have a different mentality. So watching the way he worked day in and day out, like what was that like witnessing, and what was his work ethic like?
But yeah, Killian is one of my good friends. He came to Bordeaux to play with me too. And I'm gonna tell you, since we was young, like I think I met him when I was 14. Since his day, like he was already a killer. Like he was already like the top player, and he was all about business. He didn't care if it was a friendship game, a real game, a championship game. He would play the same. He will bring his in his way for doing, like he's never messing around. He's never in the bad stories. You know, he always been focused, and yeah, really focused toward his goals.
So then you go through the recruiting process and you ultimately have the opportunity where you say, I could go to America to play college, or I could start making money out in Europe and start playing professionally. Why did you decide to go to college though? Like, why is that the route you chose?
I think it was the right choice because I skipped the grade, and the school part is really important for my family and everybody around me. So I felt like it was the best choice for me. And also, at the time I was 17 when I got done with INSEP, and I had some pretty good offers, some high major offers. So I just felt like it would be better than maybe going to play pro and not be sure about playing time and everything, because you know professional is different. And also I wouldn't be able to have the school aspect and have a degree. So I definitely thought that going to college and have a degree was the best way to do it.
As you mentioned, you had a lot of high major offers on the table. Oregon was in the mix for you. Vanderbilt was in the mix for you. Michigan, Georgia Tech, TCU, Nebraska obviously was there too. So take us that process to like how'd you narrow it down? Because your final three was Nebraska, TCU, and Georgia Tech. Like how'd you narrow it down to those three?
Um, so I think when I had my offers, I took a couple visits. I was really close to go to Georgia Tech too. But then, Matt Abdelmassi was recruiting me since St. John's. And then when he went to Nebraska, he told me to come there. And then I came and I saw Coach Horberg. He was coming straight from the Bulls. And I think he really explained to me his project, the way he was playing, everything. And when I left Nebraska, I was like, that's where I want to go. So that's really what happened. And as for the schools, it was really about my feeling, the way I felt about the school, the coaches, and everything. And at that point, with me and my coach Vincent Bessie and my family talked about it and started cut the schools down. But it was really close. I was that close to go to Georgia Tech. I chose Nebraska.
So before we get into your Nebraska career, you decided to go out there and you come a little bit late to campus because you go for U18 team that time. So what was that experience like?
Once again, I feel like we was all frustrated because we lost in quarterfinals against Turkey, and it was pretty rough because we had a really good team that year too. So I feel like it wasn't my best national team experience, but it helped me because I was 1 year younger than the most of the guys, and I played against some really good players at that tournament. So it helped me, and also it gave me more hunger to go and for the next season when I had a pretty good season at that time. So yeah.
So when you go out and you play representing France, rather be through the U teams or national stage, or you go out to America and you're playing college, like what does it mean to represent France and what does that kind of look like?
It's a blessing. Like you got the French national team, Georgian on your chest. Your whole family, your friends are looking at you, watching you. And it's really a blessing. Like it's like a dream coming true. And I don't know, you just feel proud and you're trying to give everything you got.
Who was that French player that you looked up to? Like as a kid, was there a guy that you looked up to and you're like, that's the guy I want to be like, I want to model my game after? Like, was there that player you kind of looked up to growing up?
I feel like it was Tony Parker. Like maybe every young French kids, uh, every young French kids was looking up to Tony Parker. I feel like as a basketball player. So me, it was Tony Parker. But then I grew up and he's still one of like the guys. Obviously, I know I'm never gonna play point guard, but he's still one of the guys I'm looking up to, and I'm gonna be forever respect for his career. Like he's a Hall of Famer.
So let's head into your Nebraska career. You go out there and as you mentioned, you get a guy just coming straight from the NBA coaching, a former NBA player, and he also was a very successful college coach, got Iowa State to the peak of the program history. So what was it like just talking to Coach Hoiberg, being coached by Coach Hoiberg? What was that experience like?
It was a very good experience. Like Coach Herbert's a nice guy. My first year, I played a lot at 17. Started almost every game. So I broke a lot of records there. So I feel like the bad part was that we wasn't winning. But at that time, I was 17, coming to Big Ten. I see only positivity in that experience. And then my second year was kind of a little bit tougher with COVID and everything. But I keep it as a good experience. I learned a lot, and I'm forever thankful for Coach Harper and his staff to allow me to play and gave me my opportunity to play at that level. But yeah, I think it was a good experience. Like I learned a lot. I was young, and now I'm older, and I learned about the business and everything, and now I'm more ready to go.
As you mentioned a little bit earlier, you're going to the Big Ten, which is not an easy conference for any position. But when you're looking at the big man position, you ran center that first year. How was that like? Because you're going up against some guys like you mentioned, Luka Garza, Player of the Year one night. Then you're not going up against a couple other big time guys that are in the NBA today or very successful college bigs. What was that like battling those guys night in and night out?
It was really tough. I remember. I mean, I liked it because I was starting against them. It was crazy. But I remember one night we played Cassius Winston and Xavier Tillman from Michigan State, And then the next night is Luca Garza, and then the next night is Jalen Smith. Then the next night is Daniel Oturu, who was playing at Minnesota. So it's like it was like 5 NBA players in 4 games. I was in my room. I remember talking to my mom, like, "Mom, it's crazy. Like, I'm playing pros every night." So it was a pretty good experience. Like, obviously, we was battling on the court, but it was a pretty good experience. I was also looking at the way they were playing. I was learning a lot, and I feel like it really helped me.
We mentioned it earlier too, but people might forget you were 17 going up against these guys too. So you're the youngest guy in the entire Big Ten, one of, if not the youngest guy in the entire country. So to learn from these guys that were 3, 4, 5 years older than you, how much did that help better your game and develop you?
Oh, it really helped me a lot, like crazy. Like now I really know, like my first year, I really went like this. So like after, I feel like playing against a lot of these guys helped me. I was looking at them, watching them, and then I added it to my own game. So I feel like it really helped me a lot.
Was there one big man you enjoyed playing up against the most?
The most, I think that I really like my game against Jeffrey Tillman. I was in double digits, and I feel like we was going back and forth. So it was a pretty good game. Also, Kofi Cockburn. My first year, I had a double against him, and I feel like I really enjoyed going against him because he's a big physical dude, and it's like a good matchup. And it's fun.
And so when you're heading into this team, you're going through training camp and you're really just kind of getting ready for your freshman season. Did coach expect you to be a starter for them? Like, did he expect you to be their go-to center, or did you kind of earn that over time? Like, how did you ultimately get that starting job for your freshman year?
I feel like I earned it. Like I asked Coach Herberg what was going to be my playing time, and I remember he told me, "I don't know. If you work for it, you don't have the playing time that you want." So I feel like I came ready to work, and then I earned it.
You are 6'9". That's pretty tall, but obviously when you're talking about some of the big men you're going up against, they're pushing 7 foot or even over 7 foot in Kofi's standpoint. How have you become such a dominant rebounder? Because there's some games where you drop 19 rebounds in a game, double-digit rebounds multiple times, break all these Big Ten school records in terms of rebounds as a freshman. How have you become such a dominant rebounder when you're not always having a height advantage? You kind of have a height disadvantage in some matchups.
I feel like rebound is all about desire.
Yep.
So I always want to out rebound my opponent, offensive rebound or defensive rebounds. I always want to out rebound my opponent. And rebounds is also a lot about position, like the way you position your body, the contact you make. So I kind of learned how to do it, playing against all those bigger players. And I learned how to, bump the guy before taking the rebound, stuff like that. And as I said, my desire, like I'm always playing at 100% when I'm playing. I always feel like I want to do everything to outmatch my matchup. So yeah.
That one game I want to touch up on, 11 points, 19 rebounds against Northwestern on March 1st, pretty close to your birthday. But what got into that night? What allowed you to break out and have that good of a performance?
I really don't know what happened. Like it was senior night. I had my boy Hanif and Mate, who was seniors, and I was like, we got to do something on that night. We can't just let them, go outside. That's what I was feeling. So then, and I don't know. It was like that night, every rebounds were, I was grabbing everything. I started like, I had a lot of energy. It was this type of day when you just feel like you can do anything. And it really happened. And then I had maybe 10 rebounds in the first 10 minutes. And then I just kept going.
So were you tracking how many rebounds? Like, were you looking up on the scoreboard because you started wondering how many you had, or did someone tell you after the game? Like, how'd you learn that you got 19 rebounds?
Oh, no, I didn't know. Like, I was grabbing all those rebounds. I was like, well, I'm grabbing rebounds, but I didn't know. And then at the first media timeout, I think somebody told me, I don't remember who, but somebody told me, yo, you already got like 6 or 7 rebounds in 5 minutes of play. I was like, oh, wow. And then my boy Shamil Stevenson was always telling me, go get 20, go get 20, go get 20. I didn't get 20, but I had 19, but he was keep going up. I didn't really look at it. I was just trying to get rebounds.
There's another aspect to you too, and that's that you do prioritize your grades. As you mentioned a little bit earlier, you made the honor roll though for your freshman season. Walk us to that side of you. Like, what allows you to go out there and prioritize your grades and your academics?
As I say, it's keeping it great and coming from a family who struggled a lot when I was younger. It's just pushing me. It's like a motivation. I feel like I can't just, like let them on the side or give up on them. I got to be good in both aspects. And you never know if you're getting hurt and everything. The score part is really important too.
Mm-hmm. Then we know COVID comes into play and the whole lockdown, all that stuff happens. But how would you handle that? Because each athlete kind of approached it differently in terms of what they're going to work on, how they're going to improve or stay in shape. Like, how did you approach the COVID lockdown and quarantine time?
Okay, so coming from this freshman season against all those NBA players and pros, I knew that I had to make a change. And even though we had COVID, I was like, okay, I'm either going back to Africa and stay with my family and have a good time, or either I'm going to work and be better. So I went to my coach, Vincent Bassie's house, and I spent the whole summer there. And I was on lockdown because I was waking up at 4 a.m., uh, playing on the playground, going to the gym a little bit before sunset. Uh, then I was running. I was running like 45 minutes every day. I didn't eat no meats, no pasta, no rice, no fish. I was literally only eating vegetables and fruits for like a month. So I lost 30 pounds and I was really relaxing, stretching, and working out every day with my coach. So it was really tough, really, really tough. But I feel like it helped me.
You get on campus then, we know all the COVID stuff you had to go through in terms of testing, locker room protocols and whatnot. But how are you getting ready? Like once you got on campus back to Nebraska, what was the preseason training camp like for you guys?
So first of all, we came late. We didn't have a lot of off season because of the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But then we worked. I remember, we started working. Then we had the testing every day. So that was kind of weird at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But then we eventually got used to it. And I remember we was also excited about the season.
No, I do have to imagine it was pretty hard as a player and in a locker room when you go 7-25 your first year, 7-20 your second year. How did you handle that? Like when you're in a locker room, the goal is obviously to win, but how do you guys kind of withstand like that? How do you guys keep chemistry and how do you guys kind of play when there is not a lot of winning happening?
It was tough. It was really tough because we lost a lot of games, and the fans and everybody it was really tough. But I feel like just keeping a good attitude and go to work at every practice. We really try to talk it a little bit to know what was not working, what was going wrong. And then I remember it was really tough, but I feel like at that moment, you just got to trust your work even more, and just stay on the course. That's all. But I can't lie, it's really hard to lose a lot.
And you personally obviously didn't get as much of an opportunity as you did your freshman season. So how did you personally handle that? Because you only started 4 games this time around. How did you handle that? Did it kind of hurt your confidence at all? Did you kind of get down at any point? Like, how did you handle only starting 4 games this year?
It was tough. I can't lie, it was tough. I wasn't like happy because I felt like I could do more, but I could have done more. But I was just trying to be a good teammate, help the team, and work on my side, and hopefully get the shine. But it was tough because I felt I expected to have a better year than that, but it was tough. And I just, with the time and talking and working, and praying a lot, I just felt like it was a hard part in my life, but it was necessary to get better, improve, and you get even hungrier for the things coming.
A couple guys in the locker room I want to talk about before we go into transfer portal and Grand Canyon is Trey McGowens, Teddy Allen, two of the guys that were big time guys. Obviously, Teddy moved on more towards the end of the season, but what was it just being around those two guys?
Oh, it was good. They both good dudes. Like Teddy and Trey are some amazing guys, and they're really hard workers. Like they're always in the gym. So I feel like it was a good experience to be with them, and I'm still friends with them to this day.
The season comes to a close. You put your name in the transfer portal, and clearly there's a lot of schools that want you. You get a lot of interest, but kind of walk us through the life in the transfer portal. Like, how would you take it in? What was it like being in there?
It's really scary because you're going in it. So everything is done for your old school. You can't go back. and then you really don't know what's coming in, you know. So then you put in your name, and then you're just waiting to have offers. Like everybody's saying that you're in the portal, and then day by day you're getting more and more offers on your mail. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's really what happened. I had some offers. I didn't want to sell all my offers at that time because I just felt like I needed to be, you know, just maybe a little quiet about that, just to be able to think about it with my family and everything. But it was decent. Grand Canyon, kind of pretty early, and it was really close with other schools, but at the end, I chose Grand Canyon.
Would you say there was like a number two school? Like if Grand Canyon wasn't the school that offered you, and that obviously isn't an option for you, like was there a number two or three option for you?
Yeah, yeah, it was. I was really, really, really close to go to LaSalle because I really like the coach. Mm-hmm. I like Dayton too a lot. It was really a lot of options that I was really close to go to, but at the end I chose GCU.
So how did Coach Drew pull this off? You mentioned earlier that obviously you had a little bit of connection because of your past recruiting process with him at Vanderbilt, but how did Coach Drew land you to get you to come out to Arizona?
Really, when we started to talk back, I feel like the bond was still there. He showed me how they played, the fact that they went to the tournament with this. So they recruited me just before the tournament. So the fact that they went to the tournament and everything, and also that the way they play with two bigs. So that's really interesting. I mean, I got more minutes to be on the court. So the way they playing and the Coach Drew and the success they had in just a year was really why I chose it.
So you're talking about your own game plan for next year and how he wants to use you. Is that going to be at the center spot, the power forward spot, like maybe some small forward minutes? Because you mentioned you worked on shooting recently. Like, how is Coach Drew planning to use you this upcoming season?
I feel like as a power forward, really big. Like I feel like both bigs are changeables in the system. So yeah, and somebody who can like spread the floor and with passing the ball, having the ball in my hand, and just be in a position to score and help my teammates to have open shots.
Now, this isn't quite the Big Ten, obviously. It's a little bit less of a conference, but you guys, like you said, they also went to the tournament last year. There's only a couple returners, but this whole team is coming in with guys that are high major level players, guys that have started at the high major level, just really spectacular guys. So how this team all come together? Like, how are you guys able to land Tayshaun, yourself, Aiden, Holland, Walter? Like, how have you guys got this insane group to all come in together?
I'm just gonna say because they got a good coaching staff. I feel like it. They know how to talk to players, and they also got the experience. They had a lot of good players. Coach Drew had a lot of players going to the NBA, and he's also a good man. Like he's a good dude. Like I feel like when you're a good guy and everybody can feel your energy, then people are gonna follow you.
So what can teams expect for this group? You look at all these names I just mentioned, plus some of the big return names. Chase is a big one. Obviously, Jovan's a huge name returning. Gabe's coming back. Liam, a few other pieces. But how excited should fans be for this team?
I'm really excited. I feel like we're going to be really good. I mean, like, I don't want to, like, give fake hopes to the fans, but I feel like we're gonna have a good team. Like, as we say, we got some dogs in the squad. And once we really learn how to play together, I feel like we're going to be dangerous.
So what's that going to take, though? Because that's not always an easy job to get a whole new roster of guys to get chemistry when only a few guys have that. How are you guys going to get that chemistry early on, right when you guys get to campus? Like, how are you guys going to build that chemistry up?
I feel like just going to the gym and then get to know each other off the court. Like, that's how you build the chemistry. Like, I had a brand new team my 2 years at Nebraska, a lot of new guys, and I feel like just going to the gym a lot and kind of like just playing around of the court and chill together is really helping with that.
A lot of people were obviously upset a little bit. Coach Marley was a great coach, Arizona legend, but Coach Drew did something special, like you said, brought the team to the tournament for the first time. So what makes him so special? Like, what's his character like? What's his personality like? Like, what makes Coach Drew so special?
I feel like he's a really good guy. He's a big family guy, a big Christian guy. He's somebody who's really nice, but also can tell you the truth. So I feel like he's a good leader, really. I obviously didn't coach me yet, but since from what I can see, that's what I could tell.
We're gonna get into your faith a little bit to wrap this up in a second, but in terms of this coaching you talking, like, have you guys discussed faith yet? Have you discussed your Christian beliefs yet? Like, have you guys got the opportunity yet?
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, I'm a Christian, so
Mhm.
it was really easy and really like good for me to go to GCU because it's a Christian school, and I know Coach Drew is too. Like I still remember when I went to Vanderbilt, Coach Drew brought this. I don't know if he brought it or if it was already there, but they were praying after the games. Like after the game, I went to the locker room with Doris Garland, Simi Shito, and everybody, and I prayed with them. So I remember, and I know they do that at GCU too. So Coach Drew is a big Christian guy, and I'm a Christian too. So it's really nice.
To have per se maybe a father figure in your life now that obviously would be your coach, but someone you can kind of look up to both spiritually and also just as a character wise, how big would that be for your development throughout your time at GCU?
Oh no, yeah, he's gonna be real big. Like I feel like that's really what I needed. A coaching staff and a coach who believe in me and can push me to get better. And I feel like they're gonna give this to me. They're most definitely gonna do it to give it to me. So I feel like it's gonna be a good experience, and they're really gonna help me. And Coach Drew is really gonna help me with that.
So what can fans expect from you when you're talking about what you go on that court? What can fans get it from you? Like what can you kind of promise to the fans that you can bring to the court every time you step on there?
I can promise that I play at 100%. I bring my heart and my sweat and everything I got on the court to everything to win. I can promise that, and I feel like they're gonna see me working hard, try to get try to get everything I can to win, and also be aggressive in defense and offense. That's my game.
Now the entire package of you, so everything that comes with you on and off the court, your personality on and off the court, everything. What's one word that you could use to describe yourself?
I say I'm goofy, yeah, and I'm cool too. Cool. I say cool.
While we're on the goofy topic, when you look at all your teammates so far in your life, who's been your funniest teammate?
Oh wow, I had a lot. Gervais is a clown. Like Gervais was really funny.
Mhm.
Who else? This year's team, who's the funniest? I feel like Delano Benton is really funny. Trey is a big goofy guy to make guns.
Mhm.
32. And then yeah, I feel like Killian Hayes is pretty funny too, but you gotta know him. If he's your friend, he's gonna be funny.
Oh,
Matthew Guzman is definitely one of the funniest guy I've been around too.
mhm.
He's stupid.
Now something I was like wrapping up discussing is building a legacy for yourself. So we know your next chapter now will be at Grand Canyon, rather it be for 2 years or 3 years, whatever you ultimately choose. But when you do leave Grand Canyon, what do you want to remember for what you achieved both on and off the court?
I wanna be remembered as the guy who was really about his business, even though he could laugh with people. Was really about his business and knew where he was trying to go and where he was trying to get to.
And as I mentioned too, you are a believer, you're a Christian. So same as me, and we always know that's the biggest thing in our life. So I want to kind of hear your perspective. How have you seen God work in your life, and how has God ultimately helped get you to the point you're at today?
It's crazy for me. Like as I said, coming from France and then Africa, I did at that time. I feel like I'm the best player ever in this country. I was working at Fast, so God really worked a lot on me and on my life. I got a lot of friends who didn't have the chance to get to that position in life, and even a lot of friends who died and didn't have the opportunity to live all of these. So I feel like God really helped me a lot in my life, and is a real big part of what I am today. The biggest part, really, and I hope that it will keep pushing me to get better and help me reaching my goals.
When would you say you started that relationship with God? Like, when was that point you started really creating that connection with God and really started trusting Him?
I feel like since I was born, because my whole family is Christian, and it's always been a real big thing in my family. So really, just growing up, going to church and everything.
Absolutely, man. Well, my final thing for you, give GCU fans your three biggest goals you have set for your GCU career.
Um, Going to the win at least a game at the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Um, break a school record there, and be the best team GCU ever had.
Absolutely, man. Well,
Yes.
congratulations once again on the big commitment, the big transfer. I appreciate you taking time to come on today, and I look forward to seeing what God got next for you, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Have a good rest of the day, and thank you for everything.
Absolutely, man. You're always welcome on, man. God bless.
All right. God bless you too.